All right, I just want to give you a couple of my thoughts on refinishing a hardwood floor. And as you can see, our floor is pretty worn, so we are going to try to sand it today. And just to give you a little feel for some of the prep that I've gone through is one is plasticking off the areas that aren't going to get sanded. And I bought some plastic. I had some 4 mil plastic, and that's this thicker stuff here, which works okay, but I really like this 3 mil stuff, and I'll show you that in a moment. But anyway, so I'm just kind of barricading the areas that aren't going to get sanded. I'm ready to close off this vent. So when I get going to sanding, I'm gonna, cover that. I might actually cover the plug also. And then another prep item is these floor vents. I'm gonna actually take those out and stuff like a t-shirt or something inside of that so that I can sand right over that. I don't get sand into the vent. So that's another little tip. And here, let me just show you here. So here's our floor. Here's an area that I want to, well, can't really see it, but I'm plasticking that off. Here's our part of our kitchen that is also getting a wood floor. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to cover our counters with this plastic. And let me just show you real quick. This plastic, this is 3 mil. I don't know all the details of it, but it comes out just in a sheet like this, and so just pull it out, measure the length that you want, and then cut it off, and then put pieces of tape on the top part. I put about enough that a couple feet so that I can carry it. And then once you stick it up, you can you just kind of pull it apart, and it starts separating. And then it'll, when I'm ready, I'll be able to put this down over the counter right here. So again, this I think is the little trick I wasn't aware of that I think is great as far as plastic covering. We are going to rent a floor sander. It's oscillating. You basically put a sheet of sandpaper down, and you put like a pad down, and then you put the sander on top of that, and it's just pressure on top of it. I'll probably show you that in a little bit, hopefully, but that should do. I'm going to use 35 grit first, and then I'm going to use 80 grit after that, and then we will put some stain on and then put some clear on. So there you go. That's the prep topic for starters right now. So here's some more plastic that I've got up. And here's a doorway that when I get closer, I'll pull that plastic out, and it'll cover the doorway. So, all right, talk to you later. So here we've actually pulled down the plastic, so it's now covering our cupboards and our fridge. So we're actually very close to being able to start the sanding piece now. Again, this is just to help with the dust so that we don't have dust all over. Put some t-shirts into the vents, and covered my intake. I actually taped over the plugs, and so we've got a big shop vac we're going to use for picking up the dust, sawdust. We've got a kind of a unique situation where we tried to put plastic over our opening in our stairwell here. And then here is the sander. just to give you a quick look at what we got going here. So as I mentioned, I've got 36 grit sandpaper. The black side goes down, the printed side goes up, and then we set this on top, and this is just a little foam pad. I guess those will wear out as we're doing the project. I've got like 4 of them for my project right now. I've got like 10 sheets of sandpaper. What sandpaper I don't use, I'll return, and it just sets on top of this. The weight of it is enough to keep it in place, and off we go. So with that, we'll update you in a little bit. Okay, so we've vacuumed a little bit here, and we're thinking we might have to go a little deeper on some areas there. Just a quick little example on this thing. Here's to pull this thing, allows me to put this handle back, and it's worked good for our first little section here. We're going to try to vacuum up as we go, just to keep the dust down and try to keep on top of it, spreading out throughout the house. So there we go. Alright, so I just want to show you one other piece of equipment that we use besides hand sanders to get, because our parquet was uneven, we had to go over it quite a bit with hand sanders. But then to get under this rail and actually under our cabinets also, we use this device, which just has these Velcro pads on it like that, and you just stick them on and off you go. It's not like perfect, but it definitely got the varnish off that was under rails and under our cabinets. So, all right, well, that's another update, and we're making our way. We're going to put a clear gloss, a clear finish on this when we get done. But it's been a lot of work, actually, a lot more than we thought, because we've had to go over it by hand so much. So, all right, with that, I'm signing off. Yeah, just continuing a little bit of a tour of some of the equipment that we've been using on this project. This is another floor that we've been working on down here. But this little tool is called an edger, made by Clark. And I have found that this is one of my favorite sanders, actually, because it's pretty aggressive and it helps, gets near the edge. I've actually used it, on the floor in general, kind of artistically. So anyway, there's a sandpaper, there's a bolt, which I've been using a tool like this just to get that bolt off. And then I've been using 36 grit to get all my varnish off. And another nice thing about this one, it's a little bit heavy, but you kind of muscle it around, is it's got a bag right here, which is collecting all the sawdust as I go. So that's been really a nice thing too. So anyway, this is the edger. I would definitely recommend using it along your edges. We've taken off our quarter round, and I've had to remove some nails. The quarter round it was pounded in with. So with that, you guys, good luck on your projects. This is our polyurethane setup here. We're putting in that little tray, and we've got a little applicator that we're going to use to put it on. We have gone around and put some blue tape on all of our floorboards in here, so that we can just kind of freely apply the polyurethane. We are just going to go with 2 coats of polyurethane. We are not going to use a pre-sand. Just didn't think that seemed to be necessary. And we are not going to be staining before we put the polyurethane on either. Another choice that we made. So there we go. So we're trying to keep the brush strokes pretty much the same across the floor, if that matters at all. But it's one little thing we're trying to do. All right, so the project is pretty well complete. We ended up putting 4 coats of polyurethane on our floor, and we did it in kind of in sections to make sure it dried, between the applications. But we thought it just would seal it better, so we ended up doing that. And we have yet to put up some of our quarter round, but other than that, we are very functional and happy that it's done. So good luck with your project. Thanks.